Alright everyone, and welcome back to Kenshi. So, we're gonna cut a little bit to begin with, and we're back in Squin, I think the name was. Sorry, I keep forgetting the name of the Shek towns, but we're over here and we're gonna try to steal some more weapons. We got some from the top last episode, but they weren't that good. So all the good weapons are kind of stored in the basement area here, where normally you would see guards and such. So I start picking this lock, but I see all those guys who are like patrolling around the building come in. So I'm like, okay, never mind. Let's just hold off on that and go back to it. But I think they come back past here, and I decide to say screw it. Or, yeah, here they come again. As you can see, having some issues there. And you can also see that it's currently 5, almost 6 in the morning here. And it's going to start to be daylight, and the shopkeeper and his guards are going to start waking up. So I decide, let's forget about this cabinet, and we'll just go for these ones that are on the display board. And I'm just going to grab all the good-looking weapons that I can, the most expensive things. Like these rusted ones, I'm not going to worry too much about until they're like the only ones I can grab, but we're going to grab the other ones as well, and kind of go from there. And so we'll be, stealing weaponry and all that good jazz for the next little bit here to get our guys better gear, because the better the weapon, the more damage they deal. And there's also some bonus stats like increased to attack skills, or some of them have indoor, outdoor penalties and all that. So there's a variety of different things you can do. So you can see that on the right there as you hover over them and whatnot. But at this point, I'm just working on grabbing anything that is decent, and then anything that we do not sell, I will be using to equip my guys with, and hopefully not having any issues with it. So I'm making a little more room in the backpack there, getting caught stealing, all that good jazz. The usual, as we get caught stealing and all that. And since we now have our stuff pretty much filled, we're going to toss it over to Gills and all that. You know how the stealing goes at this point. And I do believe we end up getting beaten up or caught at some point around here as well. So it's going to go how it usually does, as we've seen previously. But we're going to try to pick up Cirrus and then just escape out of the front here. But we all know how this is going to go, so let's do a little bit of a skip ahead thing here, shall we? Because, as you can already see, Gills is getting beaten up. Yay. So, skipping ahead a bit, we have Rand the Great, who managed to get away. And right now I'm just exchanging backpacks and stuff so that I can sell the weaponry that we aren't going to be using. So I'm kind of selling everything that has like a white name on it, and all of the melee weapons that are blunt damage, because those don't do lethal damage and kill things, so they're a little bit weaker. They are good if you're trying to capture slaves and stuff, which we could be doing, but I've had no issues with sharp bladed weapons and stuff. And bladed weapons also help to sever limbs and stuff like that. So that's why we're selling some of that stuff, and we're keeping the other stuff that we want, like the sabers, which everyone are usually all rounded and good with. Some of the other things, and we're gonna have Rand the Great go ahead and go back home with Cirrus on their back, and hopefully not run into any problems along the way. And I don't know why in this playthrough I'm having so many issues with things like pathing and whatnot, but in the vanilla game, you can straight up click across the map and your guy will just run there. Usually there are some issues, but here Oran, who was making another journey to the way station to buy supplies, got attacked by some dogs. Luckily the dogs aren't trying to eat and devour her for whatever reason, but she's just gonna kind of be passed out here. which is quite unfortunate. And you can see how kind of far we are away from home. And it sucks because this is one of those places where I'm not able to really just click and have her run all the way to the base at, right? So right now she's playing dead, healing her wounds. I'm just like, heal yourself and we'll get back to it. At least that's the plan. So we're gonna have her grab the backpack and try and head back, but of course the waypathing is not working, so I have to be like, okay, fine, go here first. But the dog came back, the mean old dog, and so I'm like, okay, it's just one, I'll try to beat it up, but it bites me a couple of times, a couple of more times, and she goes down once again, which sucks. And then I noticed that Wall is having a bit of an issue too, because there's this guy yelling about trying to attack him. Unfortunately, he is much faster at, looks like 16 miles per hour than Wall is at 10 miles per hour. But we do have a higher possible speed. It's just our gear and our weight is slowing us down. So Wall is going to run away, but drop gear behind. And I actually think, rewatching this after having recorded, I'm going to drop this gear and then forget it exists and never come pick it back up, which is very unfortunate. But here you can see I still think it's just one guy following me, and so I'm like, okay, looking at the stats, what affects athletics? Does this affect athletics? Not really, but it's got a lot of weight to it. I still see I'm at only 14 meters per second, or miles per hour, I mean, and we need to get rid of some more. So I take off the boots, and then I'm able to take off the pants as well, and that gets me at exactly 16, but I'm not really gonna get away at this point, which is what sucks. So I'm like, what can I do? How can I speed up? I'm looking to see if there's anything I can do here, but it looks like I'm just gonna have to run to the base as quickly as we can with a bunch of guys following me. I was going to go around and just shoot the guy a couple of times with my crossbow if I could, if it was just one of them, kind of like kiting him, you know. But unfortunately, with a bunch following me, there's not a whole lot I can do. So I'm running away. Patch, being the good guy he is, comes to help us. And Patch is going to start knocking him down here. And this is kind of where things start to go really downhill for us, I think. So in last episode, we had gotten attacked a couple of times. You know, we talked about the overconfident era of Kenshi, where you start forming a base and you're pretty overconfident, and you're like, yeah, we can do this, we got this is gonna be fine. And then you start getting beat up a lot, and things start going bad, and well, things are gonna get worse. So Zan and Patch are gonna help protect Wall here, and Wall's gonna get his bow and start helping out, because it looks like just one of these guys is causing us issues right now. So we're gonna fight him and do our best to kill him here. And that's what he gets. Oron, meanwhile, is still unconscious, just kind of chilling on the ground over there. But we're gonna go ahead and execute this guy and just look to see what he has and sell his stuff, essentially. Or at least put it in our storage box for later use, because we can outfit our guys with, you know, the weapons and stuff we steal. And if we put stolen goods in our armor storage or weapon storage, it no longer becomes stolen goods, so we can get around the whole confiscation of goods and stuff. But outside, we notice there is a war going on. Dust bandits fighting dust bandits, or hungry bandits, and just things going crazy all over here. So I figure this will be a good time to try and level up some of our attack skills by attacking the weaker members and helping out here. Of course, that aggroes everyone on us, and so we start having a brutal old bash here. So Zan is going to start attacking people, and Wall's going to start ranging, and Patch comes in and starts blitzing people, and it just turns into a huge slogfest. Luckily, this is not a 1v1. This is a 1v1v1 with the Dust Bandits still trying to fight the Hungry Bandits who are lying around. You can see their archers shooting the opposite way because they're just kind of there, and all that. Then we have Dirt, and we have Kang, who comes down to help. Meanwhile, Oran is still just unconscious, laying in the ground over there. But that's just kind of how it goes. So we do have Ran the Great, who is getting closer to town. And once they get to town, we can disperse the weapons across our friends to get them better weapons. Although Patch already has a very good weapon, and we don't have to worry about getting him one, but the rest of our guys are either unarmed or whatnot. And you can see Dirt here specifically has no weapon at all. He was just going to fist him to death. So I'm looking at his stats, determining what weapon I want to give him, if any. And I just pick up the nearest weapon, which is a metal rod, basically, from one of the Hungry Bandits. But then I notice another dead guy here who has some sabers, and I'm killing the guys who are on the ground as well. But we will exchange Dirt's rod with a weapon here very shortly. So I'm trying to run away with Wall and have him range, but it's not working out. So I swap it with a actual saber so he can start doing some proper damage rather than fighting barehanded. And as you can see, everyone's still going on and doing their best to kind of survive. And this, it might seem like we're holding our own, but we're actually doing not so great. And this is where I swap Dirt's rod out for a proper weapon. And I keep, whenever I can, looking around at the knocked out enemies and picking up their supplies or their execution writ, which will prevent them from getting back up and joining back in on the fight. So that's sort of what is going to continue happening here as we fight on. And you can see some of the slashes of the weapons, especially with like Patch. He's hitting multiple people if they're clustered up together, which is really good. And so Ran is going to drop Sirius here so we can both start doing some things. And once we get close enough, we're going to ditch some of the weapons from Ran here. And also, we're choosing which weapon we want to give Ran. We're looking at his stats and determining what he's best with. It looks like he's best with hackers and heavy weapons, which, of course, we have none of because I sold them all. So we're going to give him the next best thing, which I believe is just a saber. So we're going to find the best saber for him and attach it right here. We're also going to move the medicine that we have out of our backpack, and we're actually going to put the backpack down as well because that's going to lower our combat ability if you have a backpack on. So now that that is taken care of, we're going to have Ram the Great go off of passive hold from being a wanderer. He's going to come over here and start helping out. Meanwhile, Cirrus, we're also going to have help out a bit. Just like we were doing last time, we're going to try to knock some people out. And if we can't knock people out, we'll at least make sure they don't get back up, with Cirrus being our stealthy little assassin guy. So while everyone else is fighting, Cirrus is going to be over here collecting stuff, making sure that they do not get back up to fight us any further, essentially. So we're just kind of checking everyone here, making sure they don't got anything on them that we want to take, and also taking the execution writs to make sure that they stay dead. Now, unfortunately, I'm still having a 0% chance to knock people out a lot, which really, really sucks, but, well, what can we do, right? But at least he's staying stealthy enough that we can, do this and avoid anything happening. Also, I think right here, Zan is going to shoot Cirrus. Oh, no, he didn't? Okay. So the bad thing about, ranged weaponry is you can hit your allies with it, and I think at some point I had Cirrus actually get shot once by one of my guys while he was out grabbing stuff, which was unfortunate, but That's just kind of how it is. Until you get like really good with the ranged, and then you can always hit your target. But at the beginning, it's like a shotgun spread, determining where your bolt is going to go flying. You can sometimes hit an ally, sometimes you're going to hit an enemy, and it's just a cracker throw. Luckily, though, I think even hitting your ally increases your stats for using it, so it all works. Meanwhile, Oran is still dead, or laying here. But since it's been a while, I have her heal herself up, or at least try to, while we continue doing other things. And at this point, the battle's been won. You can see Wall and Zan are limping away to try and go back to work, even though they are bloody and beaten and broken. But I'm like, hey guys, can you heal yourselves first? So I'm like, you heal up, you heal up. And that's kind of the thing with AI is they'll do exactly what you tell them to do, but they don't like have any survival instinct. So even though they were bleeding out, they would still go back to work and ignore that. So we're just right now making sure no one's going to get back up, healing our wounded, and then we'll start to move them around. So Oran got back up, but for some reason didn't heal herself, so we're healing her now. We're going to have her grab the backpack and continue walking back home. You can see since she's taken leg damage to her left leg, she's going to be a lot slower. I do see some dogs in the distance there, and unfortunately they're going to go after Oran again, who is going to just fall over and not have a great time. So we're just going to set Oran aside for right now and have everyone come back in here. We're going to put our injured people to rest in the beds that we've made. That way they can, get back up and everything. And at this point I'm like, okay, Oran, you're pissing me off. So I tell Patch to go and help her out. So he's gonna start running over that way, and I'm gonna try to tell him to, hey, go pick her up, right? So he's gonna start heading down that way. And luckily the dogs aren't doing a whole lot of damage to us. Since they don't have bladed weapons, they can't cause a lot of bleeding. It's just a little unfortunate. So we're gonna start putting people into the beds so they can start recovering their health, and also just kind of picking up everything else that we have and sorting the things once again. So that's kind of how the next little bit of it is going to go here. You can watch as I finagle with the menus and decide who's going where, telling my guys to get into the beds and all that, and determining who exactly is going to be doing what. And as you can see, Kang, despite him bleeding and whatnot, he decided to go to work at the copper mines. What a trooper, right? Also, he's starving too, which is great. So here comes Patch. He's gonna go down to Oran, and he's gonna pick her up after giving her some medical attention. And we're going to carry her back to base because I'm tired of her being slow and taking forever to get there. Because she has some research books and other supplies from the way station that I very much would like to use. So in the meantime, Gills finally got released. So that's a bonus, right? Gills can finally come rejoin us. And have some fun. So once we're back here, we do a bit of a jump, and Gills is back home. I kind of decided to consolidate everyone back at home, and at this point, since it's gotten kind of dangerous around here, we might not be stealing very much. I also assigned Gills the medic job here. So her very first job, that the highest priority, is going to be to heal our allies or herself and make sure that they are healthy. So she's going to go around healing up anyone, as long as she has bandages, and she'll be doing that. I also tell her to go get some food, and then she goes right back to work mining copper, as you can see. So that's one of the cool things about this. You can kind of set their jobs, and like the first one is like the highest priority to do, and they'll do them in order. So if they run out of like people to heal with their medic job, they'll move on to the next one, which is like mining copper or whatnot, right? And so at this point, I'm going through all of the weapons and all of the, supplies we got, and I'm throwing stuff around, determining where I want it to be, and just kind of thinking about the future here. So with Gills being a medic character now, we also have the medical workbench, which will train her medical ability. And so I queue up her to make some medical kits with fabric. It takes 4 fabric to make one of the first aid kits, but luckily we have a bunch of spare fabric. So she's going to be making that stuff to try to get her first aid level up. Because the higher your first aid skill, the less bandages you need to heal someone, and the quicker you can heal them as well. So it'll be very helpful to have someone who can do healing. But we're going to go ahead and skip ahead again, because this is just going to literally be me staring at the screen for a little while as people get better and get rested up. So this stuff happens, our characters heal, and that's how it's going to go. But a lot of the time with Kenshi, you end up just staring at one location, watching your people do their jobs, waiting for them to, complete something or, do a certain thing so that way you can, move on to doing the next thing you want to do. And that's kind of what Kenshi is. It's a game where you grind to get stronger. You get beaten up to get stronger. And, that's part of the fun of it. You start out as a character who gets bullied, who gets beaten, who is like one wrong move from death. And you can become literally anyone. You can go from a slave to a slaver. You can go from being a random person in the wasteland to a great hero who, defeated a bunch of bad folks and stuff like that. You can become a bounty hunter by taking the bounties that are sold in some of the traveler shops. Also, you can go fight and kidnap people that are the leaders of their civilizations, and then turn those people into their enemy factions for bounties. Yeah, it's plenty of stuff that you can do, and honestly, that's what makes Kenshi great. The fact that you can literally do anything. No playthrough is the same unless you make it the same. Who the characters you run into are going to be all different, and I don't know what I did here, but apparently Gills tried to steal something when I told them to move here, and that pissed off the ninjas. And yeah, the ninjas are really strong. They have so much stats over us. I think they have 30 or 60 stats, some of them. So there's not really a whole lot we can do against them. We're just gonna suffer, essentially. But I'm trying to have everyone not get involved in fighting to avoid the consequences. So the ones who are fighting, I'm gonna just kind of let them fall here. All that. But at this point, I'm realizing that things aren't going so well for us here at the hub anymore. The target we have to steal from is a ways away. It gets hard to path there. We keep getting accosted by hungry bandits or by dust bandits who keep attacking us while we're mining copper, or somehow starting a fight in town. It's just not looking up for us, right? And so I just try to collect myself and make sure that I can heal everyone who needs to be healed, and I kind of try to prioritize the ones who are most injured first, right? So I'll try to heal up the ones who are like in imminent like dying or bleeding out fashion here. I don't know why this one ninja is like holding Dirt for so long, but he finally dropped him. And so since Dirt was the most injured, I go ahead and go over to heal them. Also, I don't know what this one guy is saying about I'll deal with you now or you're under arrest or whatever. I don't know what they're doing to Gills over there. It's weird. Because it was Patch saying that. So I don't know why he was saying you're under arrest and stuff. Also, I don't know why this ninja decided to just start attacking Patch when Patch did literally nothing wrong. Hashtag Patch did nothing wrong. But he was just like trying to heal Gills, I think. And so yeah, look right there. That one guy I selected, he was doing 60 attack. Patch does 33. So I'm trying to lure the ninja kind of outside, so that way no one else aggroes on him to try and fight. And I think I had this weird delusion that maybe Patch can win the fight if he, manages to do one-on-one. But yeah, that's not going to happen, so I try to kite him around until the ninja, breaks off. But I realized very quickly that the ninja is way faster than Patch, and so there is no way that Patch is going to get away from this. So I just kind of have to be like, hey, let's, try to fight him. There's one ninja here. If we can defeat this one ninja, we should be in the open. There's no one else from the ninja group around him. We can just do what we can here. And that's sort of what we try to do. You can see the Rain the Great and Ruka are all running out to try and help our friend here. And I'm going to have Rain drop their bag in here, so that way they're not limited by the combat abilities. But Patch is just getting messed up. But I'm hoping that if Ruka and Rain can get behind the Shinobi, we can attack him from multiple sides, and that way they will be able to get some backstabs and attacks in. That way we can at least do a little bit of damage, right? At least that's what I hope happens. Unfortunately, Patch goes down before Ruka and them even get nearby, and so Ruka starts getting the brunt of the damage here. So I'm telling Ruka to go around and attack him in the back, but as you can see here, he just says, nope, and just sort of blocks the stuff. I keep telling him to go around behind, but as you can see, he managed to block that attack from the back, take down Ruka, take down Rain, and Oran is going to be very close behind. And meanwhile, I'm just healing our guys who are injured here, and hoping and wishing that I could take them into bed. But unfortunately, Oran is doing her best, but all she's doing is attacking him when he's blocking and then taking a bunch of damage, because he can attack quicker, faster, and harder than us, and it is not good. So I make sure that Cirrus is on passive so he doesn't get, involved in the fighting, and I try to tell him to help people out here. But Oran went down, and we are just not having a good time now. So we are just getting in fights left and right, and getting bullied and beat up, and everyone is going down except for Cirrus, because he's our stealth character who hides. And that is sort of what he does. He just hides. So I just tell Cirrus to get inside so that we can, you know, hopefully at least keep him back, because we needed more med kits. And I'm looking over here at the friends we have outside that are just bleeding to death. But unfortunately, we only have Wall, who can also move. But I tell Wall to come back inside. I think he was coming back anyway to drop off the copper. So since everyone's kind of bleeding out and stuff like that, I tell Wall to drop the copper and get back quicker. So that way he can help with us getting everyone back up. So as you can see there, I was just kind of selecting everyone in order to determine who to heal first. And then we sort of just go from there and heal them all up. Now, the biggest issue is Patch. And I think I mentioned this last video with Patch. The problem with him is that first aid bandages don't heal him. We need to have robotics kits in order to heal him. And first aid, the skill, doesn't help in healing robots. You need robotics to heal robots, which everyone else other than Patch is really bad at. So we end up wasting a lot of robotics kits if Patch is knocked unconscious. Which sucks, because Patch is our strongest character right now. So we're just sort of desperately trying to get everyone to like get healthy, to wake back up. Patch gets back up for like a second and then falls down dying again. I don't know if someone hit him after he came this far or what, but I also then notice, oh, he has no robotic kits on him at all. Other than this one. So I try to take Kang and repair him. So we're repairing Patch. And you can see just how long it takes Kang to repair Patch. Just because Kang has like no robotic skill at all. It is really bad. But Cirrus is out here healing everyone else. As everyone else wakes up, they're gonna run back to bed or to eat or to do their jobs or whatever. And so I just try to finagle them around as best we can. And that's kind of where a lot of this next couple of minutes, me doing things, is just trying to recover from this attack and survive. So I will cut away a little bit of the recovery time here, and me just kind of sorting through inventories and all that stuff, and we will come back when things actually get a little bit more interesting. Alright. So here we are. Everyone is mostly recovered. We do have a couple that are still hurting and all that, but kind of in the spur of the moment, I decided we need to leave the hub. We need to go and establish our own base, somewhere that we can start growing food, because food is becoming more and more of an issue, and it is not giving us a good time. So I start by gathering all of our weapons and gear and stuff, and I went through and I sorted and gave everyone the weapons that they would need, that were the best weapons that they could use, and all that. And then we're going to sell off the bulky, rusted weapons that we have here, since we no longer need these, because everyone else has a good weapon that they're using. And I also get rid of the extra crossbows we have, after Zan is the last one with the crossbow, and I sell the extra unnecessary items that we have. So, because everyone can only use one weapon, right? So after that is gone, I look through our other chests, see what we're going to try to grab here. I grab all of our wheat straw, cotton, our hemp, the circuitry that we have, make sure we have nothing else. And this is actually where I saw we have no more food left in the food barrel, which really sucked. So I then go through our building materials, and I go through our iron plates, and we also are going to, kind of make sure we have everything we need here. You can also see some of the equipment that's been around, like the hemp and the cotton loom up there. and the stove and the trading bench that you might have seen a couple of times have been disassembled, and I've salvaged some of their parts. So I'm deciding who we're going to take where and all that. So I'm taking the bandages we have and the fabric that we'll need as well. I actually think I'll leave it there for now, since I don't really need it for much, but I'm just sort of making sure everyone who is going to be coming along on this first journey is going to be in good enough health to where they don't have to worry about being slow, right? Because if their legs are messed up, they're going to be walking slow, even slower than the people who are carrying all the weight of our civilization on their back. So this is me doing that and just kind of seeing what we can get before we go on the journey. So do a final little check here to make sure everyone looks good. And then I decide, okay, everyone who's coming with, let's go. So Ruka, Patch, and Gills are going to be remaining behind. Gills because I want them to get a little more training on them, and Patch because he's still researching, and Ruka because she's resting up because she's a little injured. We're also making sure we have some medical supplies, and then we are heading out. So we're going to be heading to Akron's Pride, the really green, verdant area, so we can start growing crops and food to eat, essentially. And we will be making our way outside to do just that. So the next bit of this video is going to be me just mostly walking around and doing things, but you can see how slow we are, because I think we have a couple of guys who are down to like 6 miles per hour because of what they're carrying, something like that. But sometimes you just got to walk slow for a while in order to get stuff where you're going. But a nice little party's on the move. We're finally going to go settle our own area and establish a base, but we got a long ways to go. And I don't really have an idea of where we want to settle in the area yet. And we're just going to go up there and kind of figure things out in the spur of the moment sort of thing. And then I see that, oh, it looks like some hungry bandits are interested in us. So I think immediately, okay, what if we just back off? Maybe we can get only a couple of them to come after us, and then we'll be able to deal with it and survive, you know? So and that's what the plan is. But then I see, oh yeah, they brought all of their friends. So I really quickly drop all the heavy gear, all the bags that we got. That'll give us negative combat stats. And I make sure that everyone is ready to fight. I put Cirrus in sneak mode and have him run away, just in case everyone else does get injured. I can at least have them be healed up by Cirrus as he does stuff. So Cirrus is running over here. My initial plan was to have him try to assassinate some people to knock them out, but mostly everyone is like 0%, and it is just not going to work out. So Cirrus, I decide, is going to go far away and not join the combat. But you can see we're just fiercely outnumbered, and we don't have Patch with us to provide that extra like damage or anything. So everyone goes down. They try to loot us. I don't know what they're exactly looting, because they didn't really take any of our armor or gear or medical supplies. And they may have taken some food or something, but I don't know what that would have been. But anyway, we have Cirrus sneak up here, and then the Dust Bandits start to go on their own way. And I have Cirrus come down here and start healing everyone up. Essentially, we're just, healing. And really all we can do at this point is have Cirrus heal people to survive. And luckily for us, we don't sustain any major injuries or anything that's going to give us problems. Also, Kang took off because I had him on rescue as well, which is when you pick people up and take them to beds if they're injured. But I just kind of assign everyone the medic skill, so that way they will try to heal everyone. And everyone, for the most part, manages to get back up and make a full recovery after we, heal them up. I think Dirt doesn't get up because he ends up needing to recover a lot. But I do have everyone who can pick up a backpack and all that good jazz. And since we're kind of still in range of the base, they're a little bit funky when they're trying to drop off materials and stuff like that. So, as you can see, Rain the Great gets up here. I have her grab a backpack and just make sure that everyone else is good. And we also pick up Dirt with another character. I just kind of find one who can carry him. Gotta make sure we didn't have anything else on the ground and that we were good. And we continue on our way with our backpacks full of fun stuff. So I try to avoid the bandit camp again by going up this way, and we'll just kind of set off on our journey again and walk around. Luckily, the rest of our journey is rather uneventful, and not much is really happening throughout the rest of it. So after a little more walking here, I will just cut to us getting to our final destination for the most part. But there are a couple times when we encounter things like some dogs or something. But other than that, not running into much. So, yeah. Kenshi's a big world, and you're not always going to run into some things. But what usually happens is you're like, oh, it's a big world. I'm not going to run into things. So I'm just going to, take all this stuff and move it across the map. And then when you least suspect it, you start getting hammered every few steps. Every few steps, something comes to kick your butt, and you're not ready for it. So, yeah. Anyway, I did a save right there just in case this went poorly, like very, very poorly, and I would need to reload the save. So we could start again from here, because I feel like it's kind of good to have a backup. But yeah, so you kind of get two extremes when it comes to roaming around the world in Kenshi. And here's where we're going to be building our base, kind of at this little peninsula of the rivers right here. And I think that's kind of a nice little place to build up. But yeah, you get two extremes with Kenshi, right? When it comes to exploring around, you either get absolutely no one except for, a couple people here and there that you find, or literally the whole map seems to be around you at the same time, and getting literally anywhere is a chore because they're either going to get into a fight or you have to sneak around them and be careful not to be seen. That's kind of the two extremes of Kenshi that you end up running into. So now that we've gotten to the area we're going to be building up, we of course need to start building up, right? And so we're going to start by placing down some building block materials and some iron plate chests that we can then take our iron plates and our building materials, put them in there, that way everyone has access to them. And I'm going to right now assign everyone to be an engineer, so that way everyone can start building. And so I'll be taking the equipment from whoever the heck has it. Not Zan. But we'll be taking the equipment, putting it into the chests here, and then we're going to start making whatever else. I was going to put a chest down, but then I remembered, oh yeah, you can only put like other storages inside houses. So I then decide to choose what house we're going to be living in. The bug house is big, but it doesn't have a whole lot of room necessarily. It also takes a lot of materials. But then there's the longhouse, which has a decent amount of room. It's only 24 building materials, so I'm going to put it up against here, but I forget which way the entrance is. Don't worry, I turned it around before placing it down. But I'm just kind of thinking about how I want the layout of the map to be. I'm checking the prospection here to see if I can find out where maybe a better place for a base would be around here, but I don't think I want to get anything too good right now. But what I can do, at least for now, is get ourselves a little place set up that we can kind of call home. So I'll be rotating the thing here, so that way the entrance is showing up properly, and we'll place that down, and we'll have them start building it. That way we can start building things inside and doing all of that goodness. So pretty much the rest of this video is just going to be me building up and getting things prepared. There's going to be some other stuff that happens near the end, but for the most part it's me building and getting things ready and ignoring the fact that my friends are starving here. We also have Patch, Ruka, and was it Gills coming now? And they're going to be coming back and joining up with the rest of the team. Since now I think we completed the research back at Hub, so now we don't have anything keeping us there anymore. And so we're all going to run down here and join up with the gang. And as you can see, our guys will run back and forth between the house and the building supply crates to fully function. And here we see some river raptors, I think they're called. Luckily, they're not outright hostile, but they could prove to be aggravating here in the future. Anyway, they're not going to threaten us right now, so we're just going to keep building up, starting with our cotton, hemp, and wheat farms. That way we can start growing food and other materials, and hopefully if we, are able to properly grow our things, we can actually prevent ourselves from starving to death. At least that's kind of the plan. So you can see I'm laying out these small little areas first of all, because I don't want to, if I build too many, it'll use up too much of the materials, and I won't have enough for more, right? So for right now, we're just going to go ahead and do all this. Start by constructing these little fences. And then we can, once we're done, start planting stuff. But they do require water and such as well. So there is much more to build in order to do that. I think I start having Zen work on the farms here to like sow the crops and whatnot. But we need water first, so nothing actually happens. So what we do is we go down to our farming food area and we get a well. Now, this might be kind of stupid of me here, and we realize this a little bit later, but not right now. So I put down a well and then also a water tank. Specifically, I put down a well level 3 and go from there. So we got a well, which will provide us with water, and then a water tank, which we can put water in order to do all that. And so then we'll have someone whose job it is to get water, haul it to the crops, and all that kind of stuff, basically, and have all kinds of fun with that. So I'm just now waiting for them to build as per the usual. And just like that, the well is basically done. Alright. So now, I'm just kind of looking at what other stuff I'm carrying here so that way we can hopefully get rid of it. And I'm wondering why Zan isn't, like, planting fields or anything. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe I just need someone to get some water first. So I tell them to work the well, but nothing happens. And I mess around with this for a little while, but let me tell you what the problem is. The problem is, if you look at the well, you'll see that it requires power. And you'll see that it says right there, no power, because it's not getting power. And I realized this, like, way after some time. I'm like, well, maybe it just is going to take a while to do something. I don't know what's going on. What the hell am I doing? Because it's been a minute since I played Kenshi, remember? So I have completely gotten brain dead about how you plant stuff. But then I finally see it. Oh, hey, it needed power. And so I get our windmill going, put a couple of them up topside here. However, the issue with this is that we only have one electrical component, which means we cannot finish these. But luckily, we have some money. So, my plan is to have Cirrus go to the city to get us the electrical components and stuff we need just from buying them. And I also give some of the bandages to my guys there so that way they have bandages and stuff they can use. So Cirrus is going to start off towards the city. And it's about this time that I open up the map and see a white dot, which means there's a group of people coming to visit my outpost. And I look, and I see that they are part of the Holy Nation. Which means if they try to talk to anyone other than a human male, they will get upset. And they will start to attack my people. And we can't have that happen. So, I bring Cirrus back. I wait for them to want to talk. And I just kind of follow along until they stop, and then they just start talking. Divine blessing to you, brother. So this is prayer day. This is one of the many things you have to put up with when you're working in an Okran-controlled place. So he gives you this stupid spiel about Okran, and they're calling me a brother, and all that stuff, and they say, let's pray together. I say I don't have a holy flame, but they say it's a crime to be without the holy flame, so they give me one. And then they want me to take his hand in prayer, and so I'm like, you know what, just fucking take this guy's hand. This guy's crazy. I don't want anything to do with him. And it says, repeat after me, so I just start repeating after him. And going, and going, and going, and going, and going, and going further, and further, and further. And finally, we're done. And they return to whence they came, in peace. And so Cirrus goes to what he was doing in peace, which is to buy more supplies for our place. Because once we can get more building materials, more electrical components, we can get water, and then we can start getting our crops up and running, which sounds like a great thing to do. We'll be getting our crops watered, we'll be getting some stuff going, and we will finally be moving in the right direction rather than being in the hub getting attacked every couple of seconds, right? Everything will be perfect. So I grab a bunch of meat, since our guys are starving, and just a whole bunch of it. And then I look at the other stuff here that they got, all the books about propaganda and all that. And now I'm looking for a components shop that sells building materials, metals, electrical components, all that. And find this shop here. And sure, I could try stealing, but we gotta remember, if I do that, we're gonna be immediately put into slavery and sent to rebirth. So we're gonna be more careful about stealing from the bad guys who are crazy fascists. And so that's kind of how this video wraps up, y'all. We buy more materials before heading back to the base. So thank y'all for watching again, and follow me next time when we try to survive even more.